in temperatures, a swing in rain, and things like that. But we need to find out what we can do when it comes to growing things. Chuck Renes is here from Renes Greenhouse, and we try to figure out how to grow things better. Chuck?
Boy, it's kind of a year like last year, and it's just kind of tough. It's cold, and then it's hot. And personally, I think it's great that the jet stream's where it's at. I enjoy working outside.
But stay south.
Yeah, it's you know, the flowers and stuff do fine with the cool weather, but the vegetables and stuff really need the heat too.
That's true. The hanging baskets especially, we notice even if you just keep them somewhat watered, they start growing well.
I was going to say, everything on my porch is looking wonderful, but I'm not doing too much with vegetables, so maybe that's why.
Well, and speaking of which, you gave me a tomato a couple weeks ago.
They were looking pretty good. It was just hanging kind of low.
Yes, and I redid it and put a stake in it and stuff, but I had something that was pretty big that I didn't know what you had room for. However, yesterday, this is that's the size a patio tomato will get.
Wow, that's great.
If you plant patio tomatoes, that's what you should get. So we got for Jackie, we got her first 3 tomatoes off that plant.
Off of that plant?
Really?
Yep, those all came off your.
I produce fruit.
And like I say, those are all patio tomatoes.
Hey,
but
I did it kind of.
Yeah, she did a good job. Those tomatoes, I think we should have just had them in a deeper pot. Now that lettuce didn't regenerate, and I don't know why that didn't work.
I had one great harvest of lettuce.
One leaf.
Yeah.
No, I had a bunch of it, and I got 2 great salads out of it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That was it.
So, well, you've already ate the lettuce, but now you got 3 tomatoes. You can have a
I'm excited.
bacon sandwich or something.
Jason, you would know a tomato, it's a fruit and a vegetable? Is that right?
I think it's technically a fruit, right? But
technically a fruit?
My understanding is that tomatoes, and I don't know why that is.
I don't know either.
What makes a fruit and a vegetable a vegetable?
And I think what happened was, like, back in the 30s, the government decided it was a vegetable. So that's how government works. But
well,
I think
that'd be why it's screwed up. So there you go.
Fresh BLTs tonight.
There you go.
I'm excited.
But that is the size. Patio tomatoes don't get huge, but that's about the size of them.
That's a nice size tomato, though.
You still got. I think there's another 5 or 6 tomatoes on there. So
excellent.
they'll ripen up as time goes on.
I bought tomatoes from you, 4 plants this spring, and they were this tall. I've never had bigger. They're huge. They look like 3 Mile Island tomatoes.
And they're setting fruit. You got some decent fruit on them.
Yeah, I went out back. I lost a tree the other day in the rain and the wind.
You lose a lot of trees.
I know, that's the 3rd one. But the tomato plants were kind of blown over. I set them back up, and they're huge.
Do you have cages on them or not?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's raised. Like I say, I was out there not too long ago, and his are probably almost to the top of those cages, so they're probably 3.5, 4 foot tall. And once in a while, his will blow over, and you just pop them back up. And you might lose a few green ones, but they pop right back up and go.
I'm impressed there.
So tomatoes doing well. What are some other vegetables that might be struggling right now?
Well, all of the stuff needs some heat, and it's the same way. When I was a kid, and I don't know what the difference is, but we always had tomatoes by the 4th of July. I mean, we was picking ripe tomatoes by the 4th of July, and we rarely get much fruit before the 1st of August anymore. And I don't know what's changed, but it's just last year was very cool. The last couple mornings. Well, when you guys come to work, it's chilly outside.
It is.
It's nice.
It's very nice.
Great,
but it's chilly outside. So
it'll warm up this weekend, according to Mr.
Yeah, we'll get it back.
Yeah, and
but you said the baskets are doing well.
But baskets are doing well. We got a nice mum crop growing. They're all off and running. And that's another thing I wanted to mention this morning, and I should have said something last week, but to the people outside that have mums growing, they're perennial mums, they come up every year. A lady was in and mentioned to me the other day how big her mum was getting, and it was starting to flop over. But what you want to do with your garden mums, if you have a mum outside, and the 4th of July is the time to do that. But what you want to do, so if that thing's 2 foot tall, you need to take a pair of shears and make it 1 foot tall. Just
really?
Whatever that is, just cut that in half.
Give it a trim?
Yeah, right now, because that's
a crew cut.
Yep, because that's and you're going to start seeing mums, in the big box stores and the grocery stores and stuff pretty soon. And the one thing to keep in mind about a hardy mum, it only blooms once.
Right.
So if you have a mum in your yard right now that's setting flower, it's going to bloom now, but it's not going to bloom again for you in the fall. Okay. So take that thing and cut it off, cut it in half. And again, the first part of July, the 4th of July, it's a good time to remember to do that. Just cut it in half, and then you'll have flowers for the for fall when it should be
Okay.
blooming.
So if they have not opened already,
Right. Well, even if they've opened it,
Just cut 'em off.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have opened yet. But just cut them off, and you'll be off and running, and so that's a good thing. And
now your petunias are doing real well at your place.
yeah, I think we got some pictures of our hanging baskets out there. It's amazing what.
Look at this; they're almost touching the ground.
Whoa, holy
Those
cow.
are always so beautiful.
Aren't those cool?
That's Chuck and Jack that does that. Mostly Jack's, but those are looking. And even and this is just a good thing for people with baskets. If you we had that couple inches of rain just a couple days ago. It rained early in the morning.
Right.
I had to water those that night because again, even when it rains like that, most of that water just runs off those plants because the plant canopy is up there. Most of that water runs off those. So even though it had rained that much, I still had to water those.
Now,
that
do you
evening.
suggest, especially halfway, we're into July now, we're about halfway through July coming up here, do you suggest adding more dirt or material to the pot?
No,
itself?
they should be fine. Again, it's just a case of water. If it does start and get up to 90 every day, it's just like those big plants of mine. They're probably 4 foot long. So there's a lot of plant there, and very little dirt. So the main thing is you just might have to start watering it twice a day.
Okay.
And that's the main thing is
How much
They're gonna
water?
suck that water out of that
Yeah, how much
pot.
water does one of your hanging baskets like this one here take?
There's 11 pots out there, and I have a 2-gallon watering, and I have to water those all by hand. There's no automatic on those. So I have
There's an invention called the hose.
Yeah,
Chuck.
well,
Okay.
that's a long way to the greenhouse too. So it's a pain in the butt anyway. I do it, but there's 11 baskets hanging out there, and I use 4 gallons of water. And
Wow.
so
And you put
a lot.
jacks in all of them in the water
every time,
Just
yeah.
a scoop in every one.
Yep,
Okay.
every time I water.
Okay.
So and
Another
that's-
vegetable that's been struggling is sweet corn. How are we looking as far as you guys are concerned?
I haven't talked to him. I don't. The last I talked to him, he said which was last week. He said at the very latest, it'd be the middle of this week. So and I meant to check with him and I didn't. So I'm assuming, if you're not seeing the Grimes sweet corn trucks, you're going to be seeing them in the next couple
By
of
the
days.
weekend, you think?
For sure by the weekend.
As I
sure,
said,
yeah.
I've heard in the underground that they said today was the magic day. I'm
Yeah,
starting
and
to see a lot of those trucks.
and that should very well be because he said he wasn't sure about the 4th, which I'm sure it wasn't the 4th, but he said maybe Monday, but Wednesday at the very latest.
Okay.
Because then again, that's another thing. The cool weather is
Slowing it down.
slowing that
What'd you
stuff
bring
down.
in?
Now, I brought in just, we have a lot of these out there. This is kind of our next crop now. These are what we call our butterfly bowls or color bowls. But this is all just nice, fresh stuff that is starting to bloom. So if you just need something to kind of fill in, set on your deck or on your front step or what have you, we got a lot of these out there. And we got the color bowls like this, and these are $20. And then we got some bigger pots that are $25. But we got a lot of nice, fresh stuff out there coming on, and they're really starting to look nice out there. So we got them out there. And another thing, just kind of keep in mind, I'm kind of taking a little bit of time off here, so we are only there. We're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yep, and Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday, I'm Adventureland or at the zoo or someplace screwing around with the grandkids. So
Good for you.
Which is what you should be doing anyway.
Absolutely.
There's where you find Renes Greenhouse, 9401 Northwest 70th Avenue, not too far from
Camp Dodge.
There you go.
So come out and see us. We're like I say, Wednesday through Sunday, we're there.
Sounds
All
great.
right.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank
It
you,
is
guys.
6:52. We'll be back. This is Totally Serious.